Hi, in this video we're going to talk about Raycast. So this is a video that some of you have been asking for. We're going to do Raycast that you validate on the server. So Raycast are used in multiple type of games, so shooters are one of them, and for any matter of interacting with the world you usually need Raycast. So in this video it's going to be a puzzle where what we're going to do is interact with two buttons. So there's going to be two buttons, players are going to need to press it approximately at the same time for a door to open. So yeah, that's what we're going to do. So before we start, don't forget that we have a Discord server. If you need help, this is the place to go. This is where it's a little bit more easier. There's a forum and we can help. I'll also share Unity news, give feedback and everything in there. So you can join. And if you like the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Now, let's go for the video. Let's get started. Okay, so we're gonna start by looking at the changes we made in the scene. So basically, we just added another floor panel, duplicated the wall, put them there, and then we refactored the door prefab a little bit. So now the door, I removed all the mesh from the parent, and I've put it on a child. You're gonna see, like in animation, it makes it so much easier to work with. It was because otherwise you duplicate it, but then the coordinate in the animation are hard coded to whatever the position it is. So you want to put your animation relative to a parent. So that's what we did. So we did that. So then on the door here, I have my network animator, network object animator. I removed the door script because we're gonna refactor it. And then here, I put the mesh render and the box collider. So I did that. And then I put the second door here. And here I have my button. They're going to be used for the player to press on. So we're going to use a Raycast on there and see if the player is hitting the button. And if it is, we're going to be able to open the door. So the goal is the two player get on the switch. It opened the first door here. And then the two players press these two buttons, and then this door open and they can get through. That's what we're doing in this tutorial. So yeah, I can show you. I can show you the animator, just the changes I did, because you're gonna have to change the animator. Before it was the door directly. Now I just changed it to reference the cube. So they're moving independently, and it's all working properly. Okay, so now we're gonna start by refactoring our door script. So let's add a new, not in script, but in game, let's add a new class. I'm calling it door switch, just to put everything that is related only to the switch, because they have some shared functionality, which is that the animator part. So in here, what do we have? We have here the switches. We need to move that. So let's go in door switches and move this. We're gonna keep the animator. The active switches move to here. We're gonna need to import some stuff. So I'm gonna import it here, and that import the list too. Door here. The switches thing on this is gonna be only here that we check all the switches and try to subscribe to their event. So we're gonna make sure that we inherit from door. There you go. On switch change, that needs to go too. The only thing, you know what? Yeah. So yeah, we're gonna move this too here. So the only thing they have in common right now is that they have an anim controller. Now we can access it because it's private, so we're gonna change it to protected, and then there we go. We have a working door here. All right, now what we're gonna do is we're gonna create the other type of door. I'm gonna call it door button. Okay, so right here, I don't want to save it right now. And we're going to already create the other class, which is going to be for the button, because this one is going to need to reference it. So we're going to go and I'm going to call it button door. Okay, perfect. Door button, button door. It may be a little confusing. You can name it however you want. But this is going to be like super close to the other class. So we're going to have a serialized field, private, a list of button door. Okay, this is one to have imported the list, and it's going to be the buttons. Okay, cool. Now we're going to have another serialized field here where we're going to set how much time in between players hitting the button we want. So so that one player cannot just hit the button and run to the other button and then hit it too. So let's go time between button pressed. Okay, that's going to be set in the editor. We're going to need to know the number of buttons that have already been pressed of button pressed equals 0 at the beginning. And another thing is float for when was the button last hit. So last button pressed. It started to 0 too. Okay, cool. So we're gonna go on network spawn. Well, you know what? Well, let's create our button class right now because no, we have it. Okay, cool. Because right now there's nothing in it, and there's not gonna be much in it. There's only gonna be an event that can be thrown from the button door and activated method, but we're gonna need still to subscribe to this. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go in the button event and already do the delegate. Okay, so this, make sure it's a network behavior. Yes, because I had a bug right while testing the project where the button wasn't a network behavior. So this is something that was a little bit of a caveat. If there's not a network behavior, I was still able to test is server. Oh no, it was because it didn't have a network object. So make sure when you had a network behavior that it has also a network object on it, because even with a network behavior, I was testing that the button was pressed on the server, but his server was always falling. It was because I had a network behavior, but I didn't have the network object. Okay, so now let's go and put the delegate, public delegate. We don't need to return anything with this. Button pressed. We're gonna pass in the instance of the button door that was pressed. Button door, boom, boom, and then we do a public event. Public event, not event like this. Needs to be this one. Button pressed and button pressed, and pressed like this. So with a D. Yeah, make sure you get that writing right, because it caused a bug in someone came on the Discord, and it turned out there was a missing D here. So okay, cool. So I want to actually know when that that button is actually activated. So what we're gonna do here, we're already gonna do the method activate, because it's so simple to do. I don't want to, and I'm here, so I'm just gonna do it. It's basically if is server, because we're gonna need to do the Raycast also on the server for that. We're just gonna do on button press dot invoke, and we're passing this. That's basically everything you need to do in the button. So now that this is done, let's go back to here. Now that we have that, we can check on network spawn, on network. Wait, oh yeah, I need to enter it from the door here. Sorry about that. There we go. Now I'm in network behavior. So on network spawn, not despawn, sorry. On network spawn, there we go. On network spawn, I'm gonna have that. So I'm gonna do buttons dot for each. So it's gonna give me like a for each button, both in button, doors, and button. We're gonna do just listen to the event. So we need a method for that. So let's go private void on button pressed. Here we go. So that we can subscribe to that event. So button door dot on button press plus equal on our own on button press. We don't want this. Oh no, in fact no, it takes button door. Yeah, button door. There we go. Okay, perfect. So now this behavior is simple. It just needs to kind of have all the right information. So we first want to know the button that was pressed, as a door, do I have this button linked to me? So we're going to go here and do I content the button door, because this is the only case where we need to do something. Then we're going to check if there was no button press, because if there's no button press, then we're starting afresh. We're starting the timer and everything else. So we're going to go here. So we're going to say the last time then the button was pressed is now, right? Then we're going to increase the number of button press, plus plus, and then we're going to test the condition. So if number of button press equals buttons dot count, then that means it's time to open the door. So we're going to go anim set trigger and open door. There we go. Now, if we have it, but it's not the first button, then we need to do a couple more checks. We need to say if last time that it was if last button press plus the time between the test is smaller or equal to time.time. So that means that this was not the first button I would press, and the second button was pressed in the timer that we set. So because we want to say like, oh, they need to press it 5 seconds apart. So that's what that condition does. Then we say number of button press plus plus. And here we test again. Am I, because right now, like my game is just 2 players, but it could be more than 2 players. So we don't want to assume here. And we're gonna check if all the buttons have been pressed. And if all the buttons have been pressed, we basically do the same thing here, right there. And otherwise, we just do that number button press plus plus. Whoops. Plus plus. There you go. And then at some point, so this is a choice. You could also decide that every time someone press a button, I reset the timer. That could be one feature you want, but it can lead to some cheating and everything. So I prefer to not do that. Like if there's 3 buttons, I expect there's 3 players and they press it around the same time. That's the feature. That's the feature we want. In fact, no. That's not right. Here it should be equal to 1, right? Yeah. No, that's not what this condition is for. So here is like, if I pressed it in time, then okay, increase the number of buttons. But if someone pressed it, there was already a button pressed, but you're not in time, then I want to reset it to +1, because this condition is going to take care of how many buttons there is. And it's just that we need to reset it if like someone pressed the button and the second player pressed the button, but outside of the time range. Okay, so one thing we're going to need to do before doing the player controller is we're going to need to go here in set input, and we're going to need to add sorry, this is like yeah, we're gonna need to add a little thing to our player control, because right now they're just doing the basic WASD, but we kind of want them to have also, sorry, this window is pretty big. We want them to be able to click to interact with it. So we're gonna here add an action. It's gonna be interact. And what we're gonna do, it's gonna be a button click, and the binding here, we're gonna go with mouse and then the left button. Yeah. So whenever I click the left button, it's going to trigger the interact. So I'm going to save, and this is going to allow me to encode detect the interact. Okay, so here in the player, now let's go here in the player controller. Here what we want to do is we want to add something here. So if you're the local player is local player and player control. Oop, whoa, my editor is going crazy. Player dot interact dot in progress. So if the player clicks the mouse, then okay. So this is the part where I had some comment for explaining Raycast, how you do it on a network base. So this is a part of like we do it a little bit of the same thing as the client prediction. We do the Raycast first on the client, and if it hits something and it is whatever our client thinks it's something it could interact with, then it asks the server to do the Raycast also. So we're going to do the Raycast, physics.raycast, and then it's the cam transform, because this is where we do the Raycast from. We're going to do the cam transform.forward. This is the direction of the Raycast. We can have a Raycast hit here. which is a hit. So this variable is going to get populated if there is a hit. So the raycast is returning true or false if it hits, and if there is a hit, then in our if, we're going to have the hit to get the details of the hit. Now the distance here, we're going to pass interact distance, which is going to be a variable we're going to create. And then another thing here, which is going to be the interaction layer right here. Interaction layer that we're going to set up. Okay, so let's do that setup first. I prefer to keep it on a line. So let's go with this. Let's put a variable here. Serialize field, private float, and the interact distance. And we're going to create the interaction layer, which is going to be a layer mask. So let's go here, serialize field, private, layer mask, and layer mask. So we're going to set that up after, but that basically says do the raycast, but do it and return me true only if you hit something that is on the same physics layer that I've specified in here. So yeah. For us, we don't want to raycast with the whole world. We want to raycast and we want it to hit only if we find a button or something in here that is interactable. Okay, so we're going to go here. We're going to do, okay, well, I've hit something that is of the layer interactable. Now I need to know specifically, is it a button? So we're going to do collider because we're going to hit a collider, not a rigid body, and we're going to do try get component. The try get component is going to be of a button door. I'm showing you always new ways to do stuff. You could have done a simple get component, check if it's null after. It works also, okay? I just like to show you guys different way to do this. And this one is kind of a one-liner. Some people prefer those. So basically it does kind of the same thing as a raycast. It tries to get the component. Try get component is going to return true or false, and if it's true, then inside you're going to have access to that button. So here we know that we've hit it. We kind of don't need that component because we're not doing anything with it like locally, but we're going to do an RPC now. Use button server RPC, and that's what we're going to need to create here. So let's go. It's here. Don't forget to tag it as a server RPC. So we have that here. And basically just copy paste this. Because that's exactly what the server is going to do. It's going to do the exact same thing. So he's going to say, okay, then do the raycast now on the server. And then if I get a button, then now I can actually use it. So we're going to go button door dot activate, and activate is going to go do the whole rest of the flow. It's going to go here, it's going to invoke whoever has subscribed to, which happened to be the door, and the door is going to check the whole mechanics. So that's kind of how you do it. So let's say, because the example in the comments were an FPS, right? So an FPS would be the same thing. You would still listen to the left click, right? How we set it up. You would raycast to see if there's something in it. The interaction layer was specifically like if I fire a weapon, it would be something like a layer like like damageable or something, like, because if I shoot a barrel or if I shoot a player, they're going to be interact differently. But they're going to be on the same layer because I can damage them. And then after that, you would maybe have a couple HIF to see like, okay, now that I know it's a damageable, what is it exactly? Is it a barrel? Is it a player? You could have an interface. Usually that's how you would do it. You would say, okay, then try to get a component like damageable. And then that interface would say, you have a method take damage, and then you would call your variable here dot take damage, and then whatever, if it's a barrel or a player, it would handles the damage. But obviously you wouldn't do that on client. You would still do the RPC, and here you would do the take damage part on the server. And then the server would change a replicated variable for the health of the player or the barrel, and then it would get synced back to the client. So yeah, that's it. But for now, we don't do that. We don't do an FPS. We do a puzzle game right now. So we're going to do just this. Just activate the button and check if it was activated in the window of time that we allowed. All right. So now back in the scene, I just I went ahead and did it. But basically, we add back the door switch to that door. set the switch, set the animator controller, drag it here. And on here, we had the door button where we drag also the network animator, and I dragged the two buttons because here I made a prefab with my button, added the button door script and the network object on them, so that on the door I could drag the buttons here, set the time between button press to 10, and drag and drop the anim controller. Yeah, okay, cool. So now the only thing left is we need to put those buttons on a layer. So we're gonna do this, and we're gonna say interactable. There we go. So now they have a layer. Now we can go in here. In fact, let's do it on a prefab. That's better. A prefab layer interactable. Yes, change in children. Oh yeah, I don't think I've done the colliders. No. So here on the button, let's remove the capsule collider from here. And we're just going to put a not even a capsule. Let's put it a box collider. Box collider. Boom. Let's make sure it's not a... It's generous, but not that generous. And it didn't encapsulate like the whole mesh. So let's go... Oh, sorry. It didn't work. Boom. Let's make it generous, but not too much. We don't need it to be interactable from the back here. So let's go here. Yeah, I feel that's pretty good. So, okay, all right. So this is all in interactable. So now here, they're going to have, if I put my widgets, they're going to have the box collider here. And they're on the interaction layer. Good. Now let's go in here on the player controller, and we need to set the interaction layer to interactable. And let's say the interaction distance, I'm going to put it pretty generously too. So that we have this, and yeah, okay. Now that this scene is set, we should be able to test it out. Okay, so before we test it, when I was testing it, I found a bug. So this feature was a little bit hard to test, and whenever I was planning this, I didn't. There was a bug and I didn't find it. So problem was like you could with the error implementation just press 2 times the same button and it would still open the door. So this is a problem. So we're gonna fix it. So we're gonna introduce the same principle as this, a dictionary where we track which one have been pressed and so on. So I've introduced this, a dictionary. I removed the number of switch pressed because we're gonna figure it out every time someone presses the switch. In here, then I just initiate with false the dictionary, and on press button, this is where it changed a lot. So this is the new code. So I still check if the button contains, but then I activate it. Count how many are activated. So for that, let's go down here. Count is just the number of, I do a for each on the active pair. If the button value is true, then I increase the number of press by 1. Otherwise, I just say it's stay the same value. And then at the end, I return the value. So there it is. Now, if there's only one that have been pressed, right now I'm putting a message, but I record the time of which this was pressed, and I still see the check if like all the buttons are pressed, and if not, I checked, and this is important. This condition here was of the wrong. I put smaller or equal, but it's greater or equal because it's in the future. The last press button plus must be in the future for it to be still available to press. So if the person can still press the button, then I just check the number of buttons that have been pressed, which I've counted here. And if you've passed the time that you could press the second button, then I reset the button. Just do it for each buttons and buttons, and I put them all to false in the active buttons dictionary, and then I reactivate only the one that was pressed right there. There's gonna be another thing. I'm gonna need to say here that the last button press is equal to time. All right, now let's do the demo. So host here, join here, and then we're gonna go ahead and do enter the code. There you go. Join. There we go. There we go. So I'm ready. I'm gonna ready here, and we're just gonna wait for the host to know. And here we go. So here it is. Let's wait for the other player to spawn. Here we go. Here he is. I'm gonna get on a switch, and then I'm gonna let the host get on the switch. Boom. Here we go. The door open, like a previous video. We're gonna place ourselves ready to press that button, and then here we go. We're pressing it, and then we're gonna go ahead and press it here too. Oh wait, maybe I'm not close enough. And then here we're pressing it. There we go. The door open, and here we are. Woohoo! And there it is for the Raycast video. This was a little bit, this one was a little bit harder to test and also film, because like it was hard to kind of switch between window and press the button approximately at the same time. So there might be bugs, but if there is, just leave a comment below and I'm gonna try to address them and fix them. Yeah, thank you for watching. If you like the video, please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Don't forget we have a Discord if you want to join our community and talk with us, or if you need help, there's a forum for you to get help. I just want to address also that we've passed that 100 subscribers, and I'm super grateful for that. Thank you all for watching my videos. When I started channel like 2 months ago, I think 3 months ago, I didn't think like people would actually be watching, so it's pretty cool that I have all you guys to talk to and thank for that. Yeah, let's go for the 1,000, right? So I'm gonna continue doing these videos. The next one should be on reconciliation. So we did the client prediction part, and now we should do the reconciliation to make sure that there's no desync between the client and the server. So let's go. See you in the next video.